Chosen one, the very ones who schemed in shadows and whispered lies to ruin you, now find themselves caught in the trap they set for you. Their alliances are crumbling, their secrets unraveling like cursed threads woven into their own fates. What they built on deceit is collapsing under the weight of divine truth, and the spotlight they once used to shame you now exposes them in their rawest disgrace. The same mouths that mocked you are now silenced by the fallout of their treachery. You, on the other hand, are rising, crowned not just in victory, but in clarity. The truth is about to erupt in ways even you didn't imagine, and their downfall will echo as proof that no weapon formed against a divine soul can ever prosper. For months, you've been the voice of clarity, boldly calling out the dangers, drawing lines in the sand with every word you spoke. You warned them all, painting vivid pictures of the consequences that would unfold if they refused to change. Every caution, every prophecy you shared unfolded exactly as you said it would. Yet they turned deaf ears, blinded by their own stubborn pride. What you didn't realize was that one shadow lurking nearby wasn't just listening. They were cataloging every truth you uttered, not to grow or evolve, but to weaponize your wisdom against you. But little do they know, the strength behind your voice is forged in unbreakable steel, and their efforts to use your light as a weapon will only ignite your rise higher than ever before. Unbeknownst to you, they were weaving a web of deceit, meticulously gathering every fragment of your truth, constructing a narrative designed to strike when you least expected it. The sting of betrayal isn't from strangers, but from those whose loyalty you believed was unshakable. You have a rare gift. Your presence shifts energy, turning chaos into clarity and impossibilities into breakthroughs. Your words carry a power that awakens minds, urging others to seek wisdom, to look inward, to reconnect with something far beyond the surface of their everyday lives. Yet, while you elevate the world around you, they plot to drag you down, not realizing that your light is destined to burn too bright to ever be dimmed by their lies. Your gift, radiant and unstoppable, has been a thorn in the side of many, driving some to the edge of obsession. There's one in particular, lurking in the shadows, who watches your every move with envy twisting their soul. They see your power not as a beacon for unity, but as a threat to their fragile throne. This person is consumed by a messiah complex so deep, they believe the world must revolve around their voice alone, that their knowledge is supreme, their influence absolute, and everyone else merely a footnote in their story. But what they fail to grasp is that true power multiplies when shared, and no single crown can hold the light you carry within. Behind the scenes, they've been rallying an army, crafting lies with calculated precision. The mastermind at the heart of this web is a skilled puppeteer of perception, spinning stories to cast themselves as the victim, someone crushed beneath the weight of your very presence. They whisper that you pull strings from the shadows, manipulating hearts and minds to keep others under your thumb, diminishing their worth to elevate yourself. With a venomous tongue, they cast themselves as the fearless whistleblower, the one courageous enough to reveal the truth about you. But their so-called truth is nothing more than a mask, hiding the desperation of someone terrified of being overshadowed by your unstoppable light. The network eagerly swallowed the poison, clutching it like a lifeline to soothe their own jealousy and insecurity. At last, someone voiced the doubts they'd buried deep, whispers that maybe, just maybe, you weren't as untouchable as they'd believed. This false victim played the perfect role, manipulating others to dig up every fragment of your history, your past mistakes, hidden struggles, and personal battles you'd trusted to remain private. They paraded around with stolen secrets, masquerading as insiders who understood your cycles and weaknesses, all to tear down the very foundation of your truth. But what they don't see is that your resilience was forged precisely in those moments they seek to exploit. Behind closed doors, they gathered in secret councils, dissecting every move you made like you were the problem to be solved. They traded schemes, plotting ways to dismantle what they insisted was your web of manipulation, designing interventions to peel back the layers of your carefully crafted mask. The darkest truth? They convinced themselves their crusade was noble, a mission to protect the greater good by tearing you down. All the while you remained blissfully unaware that your most intimate words, your private moments of vulnerability, were being dissected and twisted into weapons. Their false righteousness blinded them to the real power you hold, one built on authenticity, not deceit. Every act of kindness you offered was distorted into a cold, strategic ploy. Your sincere efforts to uplift others were warped into proof of some elaborate scheme to control and deceive. But what's coming next? A spiritual reckoning unlike anything you've faced will shake their world and blow the truth wide open. When their plans unravel spectacularly, it will reignite your faith in the unyielding power of cosmic justice. Deep within you, a transformation began long ago, an awakening of fierce protective instincts that quietly ignited, preparing you to stand unshakable, ready to reclaim your light and silence the shadows that sought to dim it. A subtle unease began creeping in, an instinctual sense that unseen ears were tuned to your every word, that the sanctuary of your private conversations had been breached. Your vulnerabilities, once sacred and trusted, now felt like ammunition waiting to be fired. At first, the feeling was elusive, a shadow at the edge of your awareness, but gradually it hardened into caution. You pulled back, shutting down the flow of personal truths to those who once seemed close. Your victories, your dreams, your next moves, once freely shared, became guarded treasures, locked away beneath layers of silence, protected from the hands that sought to use them against you. The moment you began to protect yourself, the network pounced on the change like vultures, sensing weakness. "See," they whispered among themselves, "they're hiding things, distancing themselves, just as we said all along." But they couldn't be more wrong. Your retreat wasn't a sign of guilt or fear, it was the fierce armor of your spirit rising, a silent shield activated to guard your essence from their poison. You weren't closing doors because you had something to hide, you were closing doors to keep their darkness out, preserving the sacred space where your truth and power thrive untouched. As they wasted their energy plotting your downfall, your growth mindset ignited like a wildfire, consuming every obstacle in your path. Their whispers and schemes became background noise to your relentless focus on self-mastery, learning, and transformation. While they remained trapped in their small, bitter world, you expanded beyond their reach, stepping deeper into your destiny with effortless grace. You didn't just survive their attacks, you outpaced and outshined them, evolving so naturally that your ascent felt unstoppable. And the more you rose, the more their frustration festered, because no amount of their chaos could slow the unstoppable force of your becoming. The one gripped by their Messiah complex grew frantic, their desperation fueling reckless moves as they witnessed your unstoppable rise, no matter how hard they tried to tear you down. When character attacks failed to break your spirit, they crossed a dangerous line, deciding to wage war on your soul itself. In their arrogance, they sought out shadowy allies who trafficked in dark spiritual manipulations, hoping to twist unseen forces against you. But in reaching into the abyss, they sealed their own fate, unleashing a storm far beyond their control, a catastrophic misstep that would shatter their delusions and expose the true power protecting you. They rallied others who professed the ability to sway your relationships, your chances, even your inner calm, through all manner of hidden rituals and whispered incantations. Wrapped in self-righteousness, they convinced themselves their actions were necessary to bring down the too powerful force you embodied, to teach you a lesson in humility. The bitter irony wasn't lost on the universe. These very people who accused you of manipulation were desperately trying to bend your entire existence to their will by dark spiritual tactics. In their blindness, they sought to sever the bonds between you and those who truly loved and supported you, hoping to isolate you. But unknowingly, they only tightened the circle of protection around your soul. They moved with ruthless precision, orchestrating a campaign to sever you from every pillar of support you once trusted. Their aim wasn't just to undermine your relationships, but to fracture your mental clarity and shake the very foundation of your emotional strength. The network's reach was vast. Some handed over personal belongings as if handing over pieces of your soul. Others whispered your deepest secrets, fueling their dark workings. A select few wore masks of friendship, pretending loyalty while feeding the group inside information. The level of coordination was chilling, a calculated siege designed to dismantle you from every angle. But what they didn't realize was that every attempt to break you only fortified your resolve and awakened a power within that no conspiracy could touch. Their plans were meticulous, meetings scheduled, roles assigned, and precise tactics deployed, like soldiers executing a battlefield strategy. They treated dismantling you as if it were a calculated war campaign, confident in their control. But they failed to understand the invisible shield that encases chosen ones, a divine fortress no human scheme can breach. Every strike they launched ricocheted back, magnified and multiplied, turning their own venom against them. Every falsehood they spun unraveled to reveal their true intentions, exposed as nothing more than mirrors of their own darkness. And every effort to sap your strength only drained their own, leaving them hollow and exhausted while you stood unbroken, a testament to the power of cosmic protection. The universe was quietly aligning a reckoning so profound that those who conspired against you would soon wish they could erase every step that brought them here. What you're about to witness is the fallout when ordinary hands dare challenge celestial power, an impossible battle from the start. The protection shielding chosen ones isn't mere symbolism, it's an undeniable energy, a cosmic force calibrated with unerring precision to neutralize threats and restore balance. To strike at someone walking in divine purpose is to wage war not just on a mortal, but on the very forces that ordained their path. And in this confrontation, the cosmos itself becomes the fiercest defender, swift, relentless, and absolute. The network found themselves caught in a relentless tide of instant karma, yet it wasn't chaos. It was a precise, unstoppable unraveling, like dominoes falling in flawless order. At the center, the one with the Messiah complex spiraled out of control as their polished facade began splintering before everyone's eyes. Their manipulations, once hidden behind cunning words and false charm, were exposed in vivid clarity, unraveling their grip on influence and respect. Authority that once seemed unshakable crumbled rapidly, slipping through their fingers faster than any attempt to salvage it. Every crack in their mask revealed the truth too long buried, and the collapse had only just begun. Those who had lent their hands to the spiritual assault soon found their own lives unraveling in troubling ways. Bonds once thought unbreakable frayed and snapped under unseen pressure. Sudden health crises appeared like shadows, creeping in the dark, striking without warning. Financial stability wavered, with unexpected losses striking multiple players all at once. Legal battles erupted, as if the universe itself was holding them accountable, while careers stumbled in strange, inexplicable patterns. Even the innocent, their children, faced struggles in school and friendships, a reflection of the chaos rippling through their families. The fallout was no coincidence. It was a mirror reflecting the consequences of their choices, a relentless reckoning closing in from every angle. When karma struck with unforgiving force, the true colors of the network bled through in the harshest light imaginable. The architect of the conspiracy, who once rallied an army against you, was left utterly abandoned, alone in the wreckage of their own making. Those who had sworn loyalty, forged alliances, and pledged their support in the shadows vanished without a trace, scattering like frightened roaches when the harsh light exposed their cowardice. In that moment it became clear, no one wanted to bear the stain of their association. The very people who had fueled the campaign against you disappeared, leaving behind only silence and the crushing weight of their own betrayal. Every dark scheme they'd unleashed on you rebounded with crushing force, turning their own lives into a tempest far worse than anything they'd imagined. It was as if the universe itself was issuing a solemn warning. You want to witness true spiritual warfare? Watch closely. The mastermind, once so confident, now trembled as their carefully built world crumbled in real time. Desperate, they reached out to their allies, expecting unwavering loyalty like before, but found only betrayal. One by one, those they'd manipulated and commanded cast them aside, abandoning them with a cold finality that cut deeper than any attack. The loneliness was suffocating, shaking the very foundation of their reality and forcing a painful reckoning. Had any of their relationships ever been genuine, or were they all just illusions born of deceit? The seasoned veterans of the network were the first to vanish, their years of carefully built reputations too precious to risk in a scandal spiraling out of control. With swift pragmatism, they severed ties, eager to shield themselves from the fallout. Not long after, the younger, less entrenched members realized the painful truth. They had been pawns in a game that was now backfiring, unraveling their own futures and burning bridges they hadn't thought twice about crossing. Even those once closest, the romantic partners, the confidants, began to pull away, their loyalty crumbling under the weight of betrayal and shame. In the end, the network disintegrated into fragments, scattered by the very chaos it had unleashed. The originator of the chaos found themselves alone amid the ruins of their own making, finally tasting the bitter reality of true isolation and abandonment. They waited, hope flickering weakly, for someone, anyone, to stand by them as they had stood by others in darker times. But no one came. The hollow echo of silence was a harsh lesson. When relationships are forged from manipulation and mutual resentment, rather than trust and authenticity, they vanish like smoke the instant the storm arrives. In that crushing void, they face the raw truth of their loneliness, built not by accident, but by their own hands. The weight of cognitive dissonance crushed them all, each convinced they were righteous crusaders unveiling a deceit, only to face the staggering truth that they had become the very villains they feared. Their self-delusions shattered, panic set in, sparking frantic attempts at damage control that only fanned the flames of their collapse. As the network fractured and the fallout intensified, desperation took hold, driving them to scramble for salvation in reckless ways that hastened their own undoing. Every move to save face became another step deeper into the pit, a chaotic dance of self-destruction played out under the unforgiving spotlight of cosmic justice. Some scrambled to rewrite their stories, denying any real involvement in the attacks, while others hid behind excuses of obedience or conformity, just going along to get along. A handful painted themselves as pawns, claiming they'd been fooled into playing a part in the scheme. At the center, the mastermind grew frantic, launching a barrage of desperate tactics to reclaim power. They showered former allies with false affection, hoping to lure them back into submission. They flung blame wildly in every direction, unwilling to face their own culpability. And in a final, audacious move, they reached out to you directly, spinning a tangled web of manipulation, begging you to buy into their victim narrative and rewrite the truth of the destruction they caused. Every desperate maneuver only tore open fresh wounds in their facade, unraveling more of the intricate web of deceit they'd spun so carefully. Those who once hung on their every word now saw clearly through the smoke and mirrors. Former allies, burned by betrayal, stepped forward to expose the truth, pulling back the curtain on manipulation and lies. Social media posts were frozen in time and spread like wildfire. Private conversations leaked into the light, voice recordings surfaced, undeniable proof of the network's orchestrated campaign against you. The full extent of their conspiracy lay bare for all to see, an open book of treachery that shattered whatever remnants of credibility they once held. Amidst the storm of their unraveling, you remained steadfast, your eyes fixed firmly on your path, your spirit rising with each step toward your true destiny. Unfazed by the chaos consuming them, you poured your energy into growth and purpose, letting their downfall unfold like a distant echo. The vindication building for you was quiet but unstoppable, destined to be so powerful and undeniable that even your fiercest critics would be forced to recognize the light you carried. While they tangled in webs of deceit and desperation, you blossomed, your transformation unfolding in real time, a testament to the strength and clarity that comes from walking your authentic path. Every quiet whisper of intuition you'd trusted was now shouted from the rooftops, confirming what you already knew deep down. The boundaries you painstakingly drew were revealed as shields essential to your survival. Each warning you issued unfolded with startling accuracy, often mirroring your exact words. One by one, voices emerged, brave souls stepping into the light to share the hidden truths of the network's dark dealings. The secret meetings, the schemes, the spiritual warfare, they all came crashing into the open with undeniable clarity. The veil was lifted, and the truth stood tall and unshakable, silencing any lingering doubts or attempts at denial. Screenshots of their secret conversations flooded the public eye. Audio clips captured their conspiratorial whispers, unraveling their plans in stark reality. Tangible proof of their spiritual attacks surfaced, undeniable and raw. The so-called insider, who had boasted of intimate knowledge about your life, was unmasked as a stranger to your true story, relying on twisted lies, wild guesses, and blatant projections of their own faults. But when the full truth hit you, anger and revenge were nowhere to be found. Instead, a profound calm settled over you, a quiet strength born from knowing that your integrity remained untouchable, no matter how hard they tried to shatter it. A brilliant light of clarity illuminated your path, sharp, unwavering, and undeniable. You saw with perfect understanding the essence of who you are and the true purpose you were born to fulfill. This turbulent chapter was never a setback, but a crucial rite of passage in your journey as a chosen one. It stripped away every lingering doubt, replacing it with unwavering trust in your own divine wisdom. You learned to safeguard your energy fiercely, becoming a guardian of your inner circle, welcoming only those who resonate with your truth. Above all, this trial revealed the vast reservoir of power that has always lived within you, unstoppable, radiant, and destined to shape worlds. The sheer scale of the opposition against you was a testament to the undeniable force you represent, a force so powerful it shook the foundations of those clinging to control. That recognition didn't just alter your view, it rewired your entire sense of self and mission. As the chaos faded and clarity emerged, you understood this wasn't random or personal, it was sacred. You weren't merely a survivor of their attacks, you were a marked warrior on a divine battlefield, targeted precisely because your light pierced through the shadows they desperately tried to maintain. Your purpose was no longer just about endurance, it was about rising higher, wielding your influence with courage, and reshaping the world in ways that honor truth over deception. Before you fully claimed your light, they already saw it, your undeniable power to heal, to awaken, to lead others into transformation. But instead of standing beside you, they recoiled in fear, their insecurity twisting into a ruthless strategy. Their campaign was no impulsive outburst, it was a calculated war against your soul's mission. Every attack was designed to chip away at your confidence, to cloud your vision, to keep you shackled in doubt. Yet their efforts only illuminated the magnitude of your calling, proving that your purpose was powerful enough to provoke even the fiercest resistance. Every falsehood thrown your way became a beacon, drawing in those who recognized your authenticity and strength. The attacks meant to shatter your spirit only forged an unbreakable bond between you and your true allies, those who see through deception and stand with the light. Your reputation didn't just survive, it soared, marking you as a fearless force against the shadows that sought to consume you. Meanwhile, the network that conspired against you is unraveling in real time, their downfall both inevitable and merciless. The architects of your suffering are now trapped in a cycle of public disgrace, their humiliation only the beginning of a reckoning they cannot escape. They came face to face with the harsh truth. Their own fears and envy had been twisted into weapons against someone who only sought to uplift and heal. In their blind pursuit to tear you down, they destroyed the foundations of their own lives instead. As your light grew brighter and your blessings multiplied, their world crumbled around them, one devastating blow after another. Wealth vanished, relationships shattered beyond repair, families fractured, and opportunities slipped through their fingers like sand. The very energy they poured into their attack became the catalyst for their unraveling, a relentless mirror reflecting the consequences of their choices with unyielding clarity. Their schemes didn't just falter, they exploded in spectacular failure, revealing the unstoppable force of your divine protection. You are not bound by earthly games or limited by the petty designs of others. You are woven into a cosmic tapestry far grander than any adversary could grasp. Every insight you share, every soul you uplift, every ripple of change you ignite is a thread in this magnificent design, one that no human hand can unravel. What was intended to weaken you only intensified your light, proving that your power flows from a source beyond all manipulation, unstoppable and eternally radiant. Some attempted to make amends, offering hollow apologies as if words alone could undo the damage they'd caused. Others buried themselves deeper in denial, clinging to distorted versions of the story to avoid facing their own culpability. A handful stewed in bitterness, consumed by the harsh reality that their judgments had been not only wrong, but catastrophically so. But most were left drowning in a crushing sense of shame, humiliated by how blindly they had followed a false cause, sacrificing their honor, fracturing bonds, and poisoning their own spirits. All for a cause rooted in envy and manipulation, targeting someone whose true light exposed the very darkness they refused to see in themselves. The originator of the chaos endured the harshest fallout, losing not just possessions and status, but their very legacy. Their downfall was so profound it echoed through communities as a stark lesson in humility and cosmic order. Their name transformed into a symbol of arrogance punished, a living example whispered in warnings to future generations. Parents used their story to teach children about the sacredness of those marked by destiny, the importance of honoring true purpose, and the peril of opposing forces far greater than human pride. The fallout from their actions extended far beyond what anyone had predicted. Like a contagion, mistrust and doubt infiltrated every corner of their lives. Invitations to industry events stopped coming. Former allies distanced themselves, unwilling to be tainted by association. Contracts were terminated without explanation, and doors that once seemed open swung shut with finality. What began as a private scandal transformed into a public exile, leaving the network members isolated and scrambling to salvage whatever fragments of their professional lives remained. The isolation deepened into a suffocating loneliness. The very walls they once leaned on now echoed with silence and judgment. Invitations became memories, and every unanswered call was a reminder of the bridges they had burned. Friends turned strangers, and casual acquaintances vanished without explanation. Even the warmth of family gatherings turned cold, replaced by sharp glances and whispered doubts. Their name became a whispered caution rather than a source of pride, and the shame rippled through the next generation, leaving scars that no apology could heal. Their restless nights gave way to a growing sense of dread that no amount of distance or distraction could shake. Shadows seemed to linger in every corner, whispers followed them through empty rooms, and an invisible weight pressed on their hearts. Attempts to cleanse their spirits or break free from the dark cycle only deepened the torment, as if the universe itself was holding them accountable for their actions. Wherever they sought refuge, new cities, new communities, new lives, the echoes of their past deeds caught up with them, a relentless reminder that spiritual justice is neither blind nor forgiving. As their own downfall became a cautionary tale etched into the collective consciousness, the truth about you blossomed like a beacon in the darkness. Those who had once watched from the sidelines stepped forward, eager to share their experiences of your kindness, wisdom, and unwavering strength. Stories spread of how you had quietly lifted others up, how your presence sparked hope and transformation even in the bleakest moments. The narrative shifted so profoundly that it wasn't just a matter of opinion anymore, it became a living testament to the power of genuine light over manufactured shadow.